One of the biggest problems before U.S. policymakers today is to identify policies which can result in an early resumption of good growth in the U.S. economy without adding to the federal deficit. As we look at the recently passed credit cycle, which began in the 1980s and led to the ever greater accumulation of debt relative to output, particularly in the household sector, we see that until the debt to GDP relationship, particularly in the household sector, is reduced, we cannot have normal growth. This is because with this debt outstanding, consumers will not borrow and banks will not lend out of fear that their current book will have to be written down. In the U.S. history, there has been a very effective way that we have already demonstrated to resolve this problem, and that's the Resolution Trust Corporation, which operated in the 1980s to resolve a similar but smaller crisis in the debt related to commercial real estate. I would propose that in this circumstance, the federal government use previously appropriated funds for TARP to buy in the subprime collateralized debt obligations and collateralized mortgage obligations from the major banks, and then divide them into smaller and simpler securities based on actual real property that's been foreclosed, good mortgages, and mortgages that need to be renegotiated, and sell them off to private partners, just as the Resolution Trust Corporation did. This would enable the debt to GDP relationship to be reduced very quickly, help the economy resume growth, and would not add to the deficit. This solution is probably too market-oriented for most Democrats and too interventionist for most Republicans, but it's a win-win, and it might be a basis for bipartisan cooperation in the new Congress.